Sameach, everybody. Happy holiday. My name is Haim Amit. As Sarah present me, I'm not sure I can. 1 second. I'm gonna try to tell you about the art of making wine, and not exactly about the revolution of the wine industry in Israel. Maybe we're gonna get to that, and I can touch it. Unfortunately, we cannot test wine while we talk about wine. And last year at the JCC, we were able to do a wine tasting while we talk about the wine. It was more fun. So again, tonight I'm gonna talk about the art of making wine. It's gonna give you a knowledge about all the process from the grape to the winery and to the wine and the bottles. Yeah. So everyone look at different wines like it's like a journey. Each wine, all its own story. For each one of us, wine represents something different. For some people, wine is just something tasty to taste of a dinner. For others, is a commodity. For some, is business. Like myself, it's also, I got to wine like, not by accident, but I started my history with wine as a hobby. A friend asked me to help him to spread or help him to market his company. He started a new company and he thought that I'm connected in and know some people in the restaurant industry. So I started to go to wine tasting, and for one thing led to another, and a few years later, I opened my wine bar. So anyway, so for some people, wine could be intimidating. You hear the people talk about wine, they use a special terminology, and you think wine is only for experts. So it's not. So what's the secret of making wine? Where does it start? Of course, the most important ingredient is the grape. I'll try to go to the process how the grower achieve the best grape, the best quality in grape to make the best wine. So it doesn't matter which variety, which grape, if it's a Cabernet Sauvignon or Chardonnay or Sauvignon Blanc, it's all about the grape. And it's known the best vineyards in the world are usually between the latitude of 30 degrees and 50 degrees. And it's exactly where Israel located on the globe. And this is the connection of, and we're gonna get to it, why Israel is getting better and better by producing better and better wine. Basically, in Israel, you have the best geographical climate and the best or very good condition for good wine. I have to remind myself of the notes I took. So again, if in the past the knowledge, winemaker usually was a traditional business that the knowledge was passing from in generation, from one generation to the other. Today, this knowledge is like a commodity. I mean, everyone can go and study this, and it's more about technology, knowledge, and conditions, which again, Israel from the 80s start taking the wine industry seriously when they start bringing experts from Davis University to Israel to teach people how to make wine. I think the Yarden and the Golan wineries were the first one to bring like experts from Davis University to teach them how to make wine. So the revolution in Israel started basically in the 80s. So wine is not only about technology and about geography, it's also about something called terroir. Terroir is contained inside the all condition to make a good wine. If it's the amount of rain, the amount of sun, and the most important thing is the soil. You'll be surprised that to make good wine, the soil should be poor. And we're gonna get into it. A poor soil on the surface produce better quality in the grape. And we're gonna get to the core of it. When the soil is poor, the root of the vine have to go deeper and deeper in the ground to seek for water. When they go deeper, they also find minerals that are deeper in the ground and not in the surface of the ground. And the mineral is causing improving the quality of the grape. Also, surprisingly, in a vineyard, if you can find two vineyards that are next to each other, and grow the same variety of grape, let's say Cabernet Sauvignon, the taste of the wine from each vineyard could be totally different. And that's totally because of the soil. Again, if the soil is differ a little bit, it's affecting and changing the whole quality and taste and flavor of the grape, which affect, of course, the wine. So this is bring me back to Israel. Israel is a very small country, relatively to other countries. And even the fact that Israel is small, in different places, like in the Golan Heights or the Galil or Judan Hill or the Negev, you can get totally different wine. Even geographically, they are very close, but because the soil is so different in the north than Judah Hills, than the south, the Negev, you can get different wines. It's good wine everywhere, but still it's going to be different in the flavor, the taste, the aroma, the texture of the final product. For example, in the north of Israel, the soil is very rocky. So basically, nothing can grow on the surface in the Golan, for example, yes? So it's very, very rocky. So the vine have to develop strong roots that can go deeper, and then they can get to the mineral that are in the depth of the ground. And this is why they have very good quality of grapes. Any questions so far? No?
People definitely are writing in questions, but you keep going and I'm going to wait until the end.
Okay. In the last few years, some growers start growing vineyards in the Negev, which is, nobody could believe that in the desert can grow anything, and not especially not vineyards. And they're doing such a great job that they became, the demand for these vines growing and growing and growing. And again, it's just because there's nothing there on the surface, and the vine have to be, the roots go very, very deep. And again, it's improved the quality of the grape. I want to touch something that's called crafted wine. Today, some grower can design or control the branch itself of the vine or the stem. If you notice that usually vineyards, they have like a thick, narrow stem, and the branches is on top that they have to be tied to fences or to some kind of support. The small branches and the grapes cannot stand by themselves. This is also one of the reasons is that one of the way to do that, to control it, is that the grower basically they cut together few branches and they put them together, that the roots like mix with each other, the roots are mixed together, and they can grow a specific and crafted like stem or branch for the wine. This is called a crafted wine. I don't know if people can understand what I'm saying. It's better to see how it's done, but I'll see if I can make it, if I can clarify this fact. Yeah, this method of this is a very unique method, like when they put like the young branches together and they mix the roots, so they develop a specific like crafted like stem or branch for the wine. So after they do the crafted, after the crafting like the branch for the wine, the next step for them is to look for the right terroir, which the terroir again is all the factors that include the soil, include the region, if it's the elevation of the vineyard, the exposure of the vineyard to the sun, the exposure of the vineyard to amount of rain. Elevation is important because you want the grapes to be exposed to cold weather at night and very hot weather during the day. This difference between the temperature is creating or producing sugar in the grape, which later this sugar is going to become alcohol in the wine, in the winery. So all these factors really important, like yeah. And this is another reason why in Israel basically we have almost perfect condition, because Israel is a very dry country and most of the year very sunny country. So the wine grower can control the water that the grape gonna receive and when he's gonna receive it. Also, usually the harvest is done like in the autumn, and in Israel, the autumn is very dry. So basically, there's no rain to damage the quality of the grape. To grow a quality vineyard, it takes decades. I mean, it's not that you plant a vineyard and you can produce wine the next or two years later. Usually, it's like a few years until the grape is in the right quality. The older the vineyard, then the better is the quality of the grape for wine. Sometimes you can notice on labels on bottles, and you can see that they put how old is the vineyard. So some people have no idea why they put it 60 years old or 50 years old. Basically, the older the vineyard, again, the grape is much better. But on the other hand, the older the vineyard, the production of grape is smaller. And that's why also sometimes like older vineyard, the wine from older vineyard gonna be more expensive. They have less production. So it's affect the, it's like this is the game between quality and production. Young vineyard gonna initiate like a big production, but the quality of the grape gonna be not as good as an old vineyard. Again, this as I said, it affect the price. What make a grape better? So the expert, they call it the complexity of the grape, the minerality of the grape, the acidity, the sugar of the grape. All these elements affect the quality of the wine later. I didn't know what's complexity, to be honest with you. So I researched complexity, and because I heard this complexity so years ago, I said, I want to know what's complexity. So complexity basically it's everything that we discussed so far, but it's also the saying that wine is complex when every sip from the same glass, it's not the same. Or every two persons that are drinking the same wine, everything can describe the wine differently. You know, some could feel berries, some gonna tell you it's chocolatey or silky, and yeah. So this is a complex wine. So I guess this I covered the complexity. Yeah. The other, one of the last steps before making the wine is, of course, the harvest, when they're picking up the wine. How the grower know when to pick up the wine? Usually it's in the autumn, like in the spring, the late spring, you see the grapes start changing the colors. They're gonna be yellow, orange, red, and then when they red, it means that they ripped. You know, the more sun they exposed, then the darker they're gonna become. That's why usually white wine the grapes or vineyards for white wine it's more in the northern areas and the colder areas. They don't get a lot of sun and the grape is not ripped. Yeah. So basically all the grapes, red and green, the juice from all grape is white. But to make the wine red, basically it's we'll talk about it later, or I'll describe it later. It's about the peel. If you want to make a red wine, you have to leave it with the red peels of grapes. So to achieve what they call vinification or vinification, good vinification is good condition for the grapes. This is why you're going to see that the rows of vineyards, they leave a lot of space between one row to the other. This gives like one row doesn't block the sun from the other, so all rows can get the same amount of sun and ventilation. Again, this is for the process for the grape to ripen. At the beginning of the autumn, what the wine grower have to decide when to pick up the grapes. It does it by basically tasting the level of sugar in the grape. level of sugar shouldn't be more than 25%. You want to keep it balanced. You don't to have too much alcohol also in the wine. So when it's about 25%, this is about the time that one of the condition to pick up the grapes. To give also to improve the condition of the grapes, the grower gonna cut a lot of leaves that gonna make shadow on the gonna try to make more space between the grapes, to give it more air, more sun, better condition for the grape to reap. So as I said, like when the sugar level is about 25%, and this is when we're gonna pick up the grower gonna pick up the wine. Again, in Israel, rain usually don't start before November, and the harvest is October. So the grape usually in a very good condition. They're not ruined by the rain. In Israel, there's about 350 boutique wineries. What makes them boutique wineries is basically production is very small. They do everything by hand. They pick up by hand. They do everything like almost manually. And because of that, boutique wineries wine is also very expensive. Very small production, a lot of labor, and they achieve better quality this way, and it's reflecting in the price. So it's crazy. We have like maybe 4 or 5 big wineries like Carmel, Golan Heights, Tishbi, Barkan, but then there's many other boutique wineries. In my last visit to Israel, I happened to visit 2 of them. One of them is Matar. I don't know if you heard about it. It's in the Golan Heights. And one of them is, another one is Jezreel in the north of Jezreel Valley. Anyway, so both of them have very small production and a very, very good wine. I really recommend the wine. So again, I said before that the peel is what affecting the color of the wine. It's also, it's not only, it's mostly the color, but it's also the peel have a lot of character, give a lot of character to the wine, the flavor and other, more than just the color. The darker the peel and the longer time you leave the peel in the fermentation process, then you're gonna get darker wine. Yeah, even some white wines like champagne, for example, they do it from red grapes because again, the juice in the grape is usually is white. Like for example, the most common grape to make champagne is Pinot Noir, which is like reddish. And again, champagne usually is very, very white. An example. So after the grower harvesting or picking up the grapes go to the press. And I'm talking now about the final process of making from the grape to make the wine. So after the picking up the grapes go to the press. And after it's pressed, everything inside called must. I don't know if you know about it, but everything, if it's the stems and the peels and the seeds and everything go to the must, it's called must. The wine is pressed. And from there, it's go to fermentation. Fermentation usually is depend for red wine, it's shorter than the white wine. red wine fermentation could be 2 to 5 days. White wine is about 14 days. Fermentation usually is done in a big metal tanks, and after that, they filter the wine or the juice from the all the must, all the waste, if you want to call it, the stem and the seeds. And at this point, after the filtering it, they adding yeast. The yeast basically eat the sugar and make the sugar alcohol. And in this process, they also control the level of the alcohol. Once they want to stop if they think it's too much alcohol or they want less alcohol, then they put less yeast in this time in the presentation. Yeah. So after after they spread the skin and the waste and the must, everything go to for aging. Usually between 6 months and several years, depending the wine. White wine usually is aged in stainless steel tanks, and red wine usually in oak barrel. And this is another element that affect the flavor of the wine is the oak itself. French oak is different than American oak, and sometimes the age of the barrel itself also affect the flavor of the wine. And some wineries or winemaker smoke the barrel to give it like a smoky taste to the wine. But this is basically the final stage of the wine. And from there, after they decide when is the wine good, if it's 6 months or 6 years or 2 years, they bottling the wine, and then you can find it in Vino Levantino. So that was like maybe the story of how we're making how wine is being made from the vineyard to your home, basically, yeah. And here I prepare a few like animation. I don't know how can I share it, you know. I don't know. Can you help me, Sarah?
I can help you. Okay. So if you look on your screen, there should be a green button that says share screen with an up arrow. Do you see it?
Yep.
This is amazing. Can you press?
I didn't make it myself, but I look up a few animation on YouTube. So okay.
Beautiful. We will give you full credit for looking them up. Do you want to, if you press share screen, then we will be able to see what you see.
What do I see?
This is happening live, folks.
I don't know. Oh, okay, here.
Do you see the share screen?
I see. Let me see if I...
Yeah, you did it.
Let me see if this... Okay, let's start with this one.
And that always brings wine to the party just so he can...
Yeah, we can see it.
He's always saying things like, ooh, there are notes of bacon. Really swish it around and you'll get those hints of cream soda. Really taste the purple. It may sound strange and it may make you reconsider your friends, but all those different smells and tastes come from complex chemistry that gives each bottle of wine its unique flavors. First off, sorry high rollers, but no matter how much you paid for it, a bottle of wine is about 98% water and ethanol. It's the remaining couple percent that make wine taste like wine, and more specifically, makes a Shiraz taste different than a Pinot Noir. It comes down to 3 things: grapes, soil, and climate. If you think all wines are pretty much the same, they ain't. There are more than 10,000 wine grape varieties in the world, all producing different tastes and smells when made into wine. Dirt is also a big factor. famous wine growing areas like France, California, and Chile have distinct minerals in their soils across their vast geographies that make wines different. There are up to 60 trace elements in wine that help identify a soil or grape variety. Researchers can even identify chemical fingerprints in wine that point to the exact trees used to make the wooden barrels that wines are aged in. It's like wine CSI, but with 100% less Caruso. The other huge factor is climate. Winemakers know that cold climates produce lower alcohol wines with more subtle flavors, while warm regions make more robust wines. That's because the ripening process that produces sugars and many flavor molecules slows at cooler temperatures. Once the grapes are crushed, natural and added yeasts begin to eat the sugars, turning them into alcohol and carbon dioxide. The carbon dioxide gas is allowed to bubble out, like yeast farts. But as yeast digest sugars and other compounds present in grape juice, they produce a host of molecules that give wines their flavor. Yeasts make acetic acid and other acids that also give wine their tartness, and derivatives of pyruvic acid contribute to red wine's color. Yeasts also make diacetyl, which gives Chardonnays their buttery aroma. And then there are hundreds of other molecules that give wines very specific flavors. For example, scientists have figured out that methoxypyrazines make some wines taste a bit like bell peppers. Different molecules give the flavor or smell of grasses or nuts, while other common wine flavors like chocolate or even tobacco haven't even been pinned to a specific molecule. Another big component of wine's flavor is tannins. Tannins are big molecules that come from the seeds and skin of grapes, and also the wood in the barrels used to age wine. Look at that big sucker. Some tannins trigger taste receptors on your tongue and can give wine a bitter taste. Others can make your mouth feel dry, known as astringency. Remember, gang, taste and smell are very complex processes, both chemically and in how your brain interprets them. So yes, you may not taste bell pepper or chocolate and someone else might. Don't worry about it. Just enjoy. Thanks to our friends at Azeri Vineyards in Petaluma, California for letting us drop by their gorgeous winery and raise a glass. Find out more about them in the description.
Beautiful. Well done. Mazel tov on your first screen share.
Thank you so much.
You did that great. Are you ready for some questions, or did you have another video you wanted to watch? Show?
I have another video, but I can take some questions and maybe we'll see a short, funny video, and then I can go and see if someone wants, I can talk or teach to one of my grandmother recipes of
yes.
And you can do that. So
yes to everything.
Okay, let me take some questions and then we do a short video, and then we're gonna do it.
What is the best unexpected wine and food pairing that you know?
Unexpected. Okay, so everything has changed in the last 20 years about wine, and I can tell you nothing is unexpected. Like 20 years ago, you would never dare to drink red wine with fish, but now everything does anything they want. So so now there's no unexpected. Everyone can do whatever he wants. It's all good.
Do you have any special memories of a meal, of a pairing that really made a lasting impression?
So I really like my grandmother kifte, the carne, which is meatballs, but for the vegan people, I have a version of vegan meatballs that they do it. Yeah, and I really, so in Israel, one of the best wine, in my opinion, that they produce in Israel, the variety is Syrah. Or Shiraz, and my favorite one is Tulip. There is a winery called Tulip. I have an empty bottle here to show you if you like. I don't know if you can see it on the screen. People can see it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's very complex. It's very rich, and it's really really full of flavors in your mouth. It's silky, but it's not it's tasty. I recommend people to try it. I mean, one of my favorite. I don't think many people heard about it. Maybe yes, but it's a very small winery, but I think they're doing an amazing job. And by the way, I heard one of the Israeli gurus, Israel don't have, they grow different, all kind of varieties in Israel. If it's Malbec and there's Cabernet Sauvignon and the Syrah and this, they don't have, everyone know that Malbec from Argentina is good, and Rosé from south of France must be good, and Israel don't have like
a signature wine.
Signature wine. Actually, they do. They start developing. There is a new Israeli wine. It's called Argaman, but it's really, really new. So most people don't know it, and it's really developing this wine. And they want to go back to the history of Israel and see what kind of grape they have like thousands of years ago. And
like a
native wine, and then develop it, and that's going to be the signature of Israel. But for now, Argaman is very unique. It's only in Israel they do the grape. Yeah.
If we're interested, like if someone's primarily a white drinker or a red drinker, do you have a good starter, white or red, for people?
A good starter?
Yeah. Like what's a good wine to cut your teeth on? You know, like in the white varietal and in the red varietal.
Okay, so personally, I can tell you what my preferences, yeah, because everyone prefer different thing. I prefer dry wine. I don't like sweet wine. I know it's very un-American maybe, you know, like, yeah. And one of the white wine that I like, which is a blend from the desert, from the Negev, it's called meatballs. And again, this wine goes very, very well with salads, with fish, with cheese, even, yeah. And this is one of the wine, I think most people that I introduced them this wine really like it. So it's pretty easy to drink, but it's still dry and nice wine. And again, from Israel, if we're talking about Israeli wine, I think most Syrah in Israel are going to be very good, very flavored. They're not very light wine. They have depth to it. They're not, yeah. Light wine from Israel, because of the climate, they better with the heavier wines, you know. But if you, yeah. Maybe now they start doing like rosé. Different wineries making rosé, and it's getting better and better, the rosé from Israel.
Rosé all day.
Yeah.
After they press the grapes, what do they do with all the food waste that's generated?
All the waste you mean?
Yeah. Yeah, like all the smushed up grapes. Like, that's just a byproduct that gets thrown away?
I think yes. Yeah. It's a good question, you know, because I know for the waste from making like olive oil, they making like for, you know, like
tapenade?
Like, not tapenade, but they making it, the waste go like to, what do you call it, wood, to make the house to, for the winter, to, for keeping the house warm, for
oh, like heating?
Heating, yeah.
Well,
yeah, I don't know what they do with the waste of grapes, you know. I think they're wasting it. I'm not sure.
It's $1 million idea. We need to come up with something.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, maybe they do something. I never thought about it, to be honest.
Put it in the chat, guys, if you have any ideas of what we can do. We can make so much money here. What is your favorite boutique winery?
So, Matar, it's in the Golan. They having really different kind. They have like a lot of good wines that they do it, from Cabernet Sauvignon to Syrah to Sauvignon Blanc, all the wines. So Matar, I think Matar is my favorite kosher boutique winery, I must say. But if you can go and say on the JCC website a non-kosher wine, I go with RL. There is another one. Matar is in the Golan Heights, and RL it's in the Judah Hills. So very, very good wine. Small boutique, amazing winery. Really incredible, a unique wine they do over there. I can't.
You mentioned the Negev wineries, or the Negev vineyard. Sorry.
No, the wine, it's called Southern, I think it's called. Okay, it's called Midbar basically. The winery called Midbar, and they have different. The winery called Midbar, and they have different kind of wine. Mostly they have red and white, but I prefer the white. I'm not crazy about the red wine again, but the white is really good. Yeah.
All right, groovy. Do you want to show us your fun video now?
Yeah. Okay.
You can do it.
Let me find it. No, it's not this one. Share. Oh, find. Sarah?
I'm here.
Okay, so hope you like it. I don't know, I like it. I find it funny.
It is funny.
Yeah. So anyway, for the we have like 10 minutes. I'm gonna go over
We actually have 6 minutes.
6 minutes.
6 minutes.
Okay, so let me read the ingredients. There's a small secret, I think, here, because everybody knows to make meatball, it's not a big deal, but this is very, very simple. What I usually use, again, it could be vegan meatballs, and for vegan meatball, I'm using the impossible meat.
Mm-hmm.
You can get it ground. So it's 1 pound of the ground beef or impossible meat, 1 egg, 1 piece of bread that you leave in water, half a bunch of parsley chopped, half a teaspoon of pepper, half teaspoon of salt, 3 spoons of flour, and canola oil to fry. For the sauce, for later is 2 spoons of crushed tomatoes and 2 cups of water. So basically, we're mixing everything together with the bread. I don't know if people put usually bread. The piece of bread, the white, usually it's make the meatball softer. The thing is to make it like really like I think it's give it like a touch. I don't know if other people do it. I never seen other people doing it, but before you fry the meatballs, you roll them on the flour. You make them white all around, and then you fry them.
Oh.
And then one thing, when you do I forgot one of the ingredients is onion, and the onion you don't chop it, but you crush it or in the mandolin.
Mm.
You make it like almost like a juicy.
Like a paste.
Like a paste, exactly. So mix the paste of onion in the meatballs. You mix everything together. You make the meatballs. You cover them with flour before you fry them. After you fry them, you cook them with the tomato sauce or the crushed tomato, water, and spices, salt and pepper. I like cumin, so I add cumin, whatever you like. Simple. Again, you can make it vegan with the impossible meat. I think it's the simple and delicious thing.
And what wine do you serve that with? What's the best wine for that?
Again, I go with red wine for sure, and my favorite is Syrah, but it could be with lighter wine. You can definitely drink it with Pinot Noir. You can drink it with Merlot. Almost everyone, it's its own preference, whatever you prefer.
How do you decide what goes on the menu for your restaurant?
So I don't know if you know, I changed the menu like 2 years ago. I had meat products, and 2 years ago I decided to go kosher dairy. So we took all the meat out, and the only meat that we have is like the impossible meat or the Beyond Meat. I started the menu, basically when I started Vino Levantino, it was based mostly on my grandmother's recipes.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of, my grandmother was born in Turkey. Again, this is what the Ottoman connection, it was influenced from different people and countries that went through. I think it's very rich cuisine. And so we started. So this was my base. My base too of the menu. The menu was my grandmother's recipes, and from them it's evolved. I got influence from Israel. Every time I go to Israel, I'm trying to learn something, to see what they do there, and to adapt it, to change it a little bit. So basically, it's Turkish Israeli cuisine, I would say, or Sephardic Turkish Israeli cuisine.
Have you been cooking a lot in quarantine?
I was
cook
cooking
for yourself?
Actually, today I did something special for Shavuot dinner. It was also it came out delicious. I make like a cauliflower pie. I just boil the cauliflower, make them soft. After that, I mixed like 3 different cheese. I mix ricotta cheese with hard hard yellow cheese and sour cream. 2 eggs. I also chopped and fried onion and portobello mushroom. I add it to the mix. I oil a pan. I put the cauliflower. It's already, after I filter the water. I left it on the pan, and then I pour everything on all the cheese on top of the cauliflower, and then I put panko or bread on top, and I put some pine nuts on top.
Oh my God.
In the oven for 20 minutes, 25 minutes, 180 degrees, and it's actually 350 degrees, 180 Celsius.
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah, so yeah, there you go. Easy and tasty. Try it for Shavuot. It's still on.
Absolutely. What is your favorite creation that you've made so far in quarantine? Or is your cauliflower your favorite?
Cauliflower is favorite of the day. I did some different. So in my family, we're big in cooking and trying different kind of recipes. So my sister she took over my mother. You know, my mother is still alive, but she taught me to do like Kurdi rice. You know, Kurd. How do you know Kurd? Kurdistan. Kurdistanian rice, and I improve it again. I took the basic, and I also added to it like chopped. So basically, the Kurdistanian rice, it's a rice with a lot of green, parsley and cilantro and dill. So a lot, bunch and bunch and bunch. You fry onion, then you add the green, then you put the rice and the water and everything. I added 3 more ingredients. I added like chopped poblano pepper, but very small slices. And I added like a red bell pepper. And I also used the impossible ground meat. So also everything together. And my friend wanted me to start selling it at Vino Levantino.
What's it like being a restaurant owner on the Upper West Side?
The hardest thing I've done in my life.
Really?
Yeah. The hardest thing I've done in my life, yeah. And yeah, it's tough business. Yeah.
It is a tough business.
Yeah. We'll see what now after this COVID, I don't know, like nothing is clear, to be honest with you. Yeah.
Into the unknown.
Totally unknown, yeah. I have some ideas in my mind, but we'll see. We'll see how it's...
Do you think that the restaurant industry will be changed by this pandemic?
I think so, totally. I think it's going to take a long time until a lot of people are going to go, in my opinion, to restaurants, especially in our neighborhood, in the Upper West Side.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be different in Brooklyn and other neighborhood in the Upper West Side, because I felt the corona before it was announced. Like people of the Upper West Side, the end of February, beginning of March, stopped coming. Like the business dropped.
Yeah.
It came to the state, and yeah. By the way, I had the COVID myself, so I got it easy. Thank God. Yeah. So
thank God.
I got it easy. So I think it's gonna change. I think more people are gonna order. More people are gonna stay at home now. People are not going back to the offices, so that's also going to affect. Are you going to order? They want to go for happy hour. They be afraid to go for happy hour in the neighborhood. So we don't know, but I was thinking that my next business in this field is going to be to-go business.
Yeah. I mean, I've eaten at your restaurant many times. It's incredibly delicious food. So people need to have it in their houses, even if they can't come sit in your place.
Thank you. Yep.
Okay. So we are out of time. We want to thank you so much. You and I have worked together many times, never ever in this way. I want to thank you so much for being my friend and my partner, and for sharing your business and your special secret recipes, and for trying all these new things with us tonight.
Thank you so much.